Hey guys, how are you all doing? My name is Adda, and today we are going to create a melodic techno track from scratch together. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, first, I am obviously gonna start with opening an instance of Ableton. So, let's just wait for a second until it opens up. Perfect. So this is just a default Ableton start session, and you can see that like we have two MIDI tracks over here and two audio tracks. So for those who don't really know, MIDI track is where we put our digital synthesizers and like write our own melodies and all that stuff. Where audio tracks, we can either record into those tracks using microphones like this, or just take external samples, put it there, and manipulate them. So I already have my own template that I always use for my tracks that I saved here. We will get into making templates and saving them later, but right now, because it's the best for my workflow, I'm just gonna start with it. So when you have your templates saved, you can just go on here and you can double click them and it will open them for you. And ta-da, here it is. So before I start any track, I like to actually think about the vibe of the track, like what I have in mind. And for now, for example, I like to decide the BPM before too, so I will adjust that to 127. I think I want kind of like a high energy driving, but also like an ethereal melodic techno type of track. So in my template, I already have some plugins that I already have set up here. As you can see, that is good for my processing. There isn't really too much, for the kick. This is good for, like making the sound a little bit more crunchier. And it's the same with the basses, but I just use a saturator instead. We'll get into those, like a little bit more later. And again, I have the same things here too. And I also have these, like things that glue the sounds together, both for, my drum bass and also for my low end bass too, as you can see here. And, sometimes I like to low cut the whole low end, in certain parts of the track. So I have this just to automate, but I'm just going to close it for now. So let's first start with our kick. You can start with your low end and your kick and bass directly, or you can sometimes you might want to start with your melodies instead as well, depending on what comes to your mind first. But usually, the most go-to way is starting with the kick and bass. So first, let's find ourselves a good kick. So all the external samples that I have in my hard drive is stored here. So for melodic techno type of tracks, I like to go with these kicks. Anything over here. So let's look at a couple of them. Hmm, this one sounds good. Okay, let's go with this one. So here I have a MIDI channel here, as you can see. But when you put samples where it says drop instrument here, it actually turns it into a sampler instrument, and that actually helps you to play those samples according to the rhythms, certain rhythms that you want. So that's what I like to use with my kicks as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create a MIDI channel here. And then in melodic techno, as everyone knows, we have four on the floor kicks. So here they are. So I did that, and a good rule of thumb is, like you always before you start anything, everything is automatically set to zero. So my rule of thumb would be just whatever you're doing, just drop them maybe for 10 dB or something. Let's put this to -10. Let's see how this sounds. Let's duplicate it as well. And let's loop this area and see how it sounds. Okay, I like this kick. So let's find some bass. So as you can see in my bass group here, like I have everything, separated. I usually have, so I have this rumble thing if I'm working more on like a peak time techno type of track. Sometimes I like to use rumbles, but right now for melodic techno, we're not really gonna use it. But I think sub bass, mid bass thing is pretty self-explanatory. You really want to control your subs well when you're working on essentially any type of electronic music genre, not only melodic techno. So that's a common approach that we do. But right now, since we're just looking for specific sounds, I'm just gonna go to the mid bass channel. And what I did was, so this is Pro Q3 EQ, with the mid basses, I cut all the subs below 96, but for now, I'm just gonna have it on. So let me also introduce you this tool called Splice. And in Splice, that's essentially your hub to find all the samples that you're looking for. Okay? So you can find presets here. You can also find, I'm just going to show you briefly, you can find samples as well. But I'm only opening this right now because there were certain presets that I got here that I know is going to be a good fit for this. So to find presets, you go here, and I'm using Serum 1, so we're gonna go here. And you can also choose the genres that you're working with. We're gonna go with melodic techno, and we're specifically looking for some point bass. So the thing that I have in my mind is something that's we need something that's more galloping, so let's look out for those. This is a good one. I already have it. Not bad. I like this. Let's start with this, okay? Bass, higher power. So my synthesizer of choice for pretty much for all my basses, for my leads, is Serum. If I have to be honest, I don't really have anything else. There's that too. But I don't know, Serum just works well with anything pretty much. So I just installed Serum here, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna type the sound that we're looking for. But just if you like to search more manually, you can always come here and you can look just one by one. I also have other presets that I got from outside of Splice, so they're usually stored here. And there are also some certain sounds that I made here myself. But for Splice sounds, you can literally go look at everything here. But this is easier for me, that's what I'm used to. Higher / power. Let's write that. Higher power. Okay. So, first, let's check this sound out real quick. And as I said, a good rule of thumb is lowering it like this. Okay, not bad. Something like this, Let's loop it as well. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and record this without the loop on, of course. It's here. Okay, so now, obviously, not everything is exactly on the grid. So in order to do that, what we are going to do is we are gonna highlight everything here, and then we are gonna press Command U on Mac. If you're using Ableton on Windows, you can do this by pressing Control U. We do this and it quantizes to the grid that you selected here. So we want it, I believe this is 1/16th, and that's the pattern that we're playing, around 1/16th. So it automatically lines it up over there. Right? So so let's play with this. Let's do these as well. Line these up. What if I put another one here? Well, I kind of like this more, you know? Let's do this. What do you think about this? Nice. We can work with this. Okay, for now. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put another lower sub layer too. Because you know, again, the concept is, so as you can see here, I cut everything below 96, right? And in the sub layer, I cut everything above 96. So they're just gonna, once you put a like more stronger sub there, they're gonna complement each other really well. So that's the idea here. And there's already a preset that I use a lot for sub sounds. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that right away. I believe it was this one. Let's try it out. If I do this. I want it to be more gallopy. If I lower this. Perfect. So if we hear all of these together, let me just do the levelings here. So usually you want your subs and basses to be roughly around, you know, minus like 3 or 4 dB lower from your kick. So just gonna lower this slightly more. Perfect. So sounds much better, right? But in some parts, kick and bass sounds like they're clashing a little bit. So in order to avoid that, we are gonna sidechain it. Okay. So usually, you know, the best way to sidechain is by just using a plain old compressor. It's like the most basic way of doing it. But there are also other tools that you can use to like kickstart. But this is what you want to start with at the beginning. So let's solo. So now what we're gonna, this is how you sidechain. So what we're gonna do with compressor is So you see the sidechain button here, you press sidechain, and here you see that you sidechain it to the kick. So every time the kick plays, this compressor is gonna take effect, and it's gonna duck the sound every time the kick enters. That's how sidechain works. For example. And you mostly want. Okay, so in generally, you would want a slow attack. Okay, so this sounds good. I think we can use the same one for our. Mhm. Okay, vibing with this. So now let's add some drums. So for drums, as you can see, like I already have some of my channels set here, but the most basic things that you add is like always like a usually like closed hats and open hats, and you can add a bunch of other layers of these, and a shaker. I also have sometimes I like to add some extra hat loops that I like, so I have this channel over here, and of course our clap or snare. And then like sometimes you might wanna complement it with a top loop and add some percussion to it as well. So I think we should start with snare because I think melodic techno snare is very important. And for that, I think I'm gonna resort to some of my own samples as well. Which one? Okay, Sounds Mania has some really good samples. I would really recommend them. Sounds Mania. So drums X. Let's look at snares. Let's see. Maybe this one. Kinda like that one. Okay. So let's do the same drill. I'm gonna go take this, I'm gonna put it here. And of course I'm gonna lower it with the processing and the group here. It gets quite loud. So, and why don't we play it this time? Let's play by recording it. So guys, just FYI, when you're using the sample, if you wanna hear the sample in its original pitch, original form, you need to always play it on C3. When I say C3, I'm talking about the octaves. For example, here you see right here C3. It has to be right over here. You need to make sure about that. That's important. But so let's see. Oops. So also, if you want to hear the instrument channel that you're on while you're playing with your MIDI keyboard, you always need to make sure that this is on. This is called record enable. You can either do it by pressing here or pressing C on your keyboard. Is this C3? Let me see. It is indeed beautiful. And as you can see, it sounds the same with the sound. So let's do it. Let me turn off the loop. Okay, I think I have some latency on my end. Sorry about it. But you got the idea pretty much. So again, we're just gonna quantize all these. And because of the latency that I had, as you can see, These are not exactly on the right place that I have to put in the grid. Why do I keep saying grill? Okay, oops. Didn't even get the pitches here right. You know, I mean, we are all human. We all make mistakes. So let's hear it now. Okay. You know what? Let's duplicate these two. Okay. Let's add some hats as well. So for now, just to get inspiration, I'm just gonna add a basic loop. Okay. So hats, and again, you can find Melodic Techno here, but for this right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna type it here on Splice, and you choose the filter here, and then you delete this. So we want loops right now, so let's select loops here. And also I want to just talk about this real quick. If you look here, you see these two options called loops and one shots. So one shots are like, you know, the sounds, like for example, the snare that I just added, the kick that I just added, those are one shots because, you know, you put them back and forth with each other. It's not like a continuous loop. If you want continuous loops, you can filter them by adding this here. So let's hear some hi-hat. And also with Splice, we also have this feature called Splice Bridge. So you go create a MIDI channel, okay? And then you go to your plugins and then you write Splice Bridge. Here you go. So when you have that here, when you're playing your session here, and then when you play any sample or any loops on Splice, then you hear them all together. It plays along with it. And it also adjusts the tempo. So you see? Originally 140. See? Now we are getting somewhere. Really good. I'm very decisive. A little too much. More like house. I really like this song. More like minimalish, but we can work with it. I think I'm gonna take this and also add another close hat on top of it as a one shot. So if you want to use this version of the sample, you need to copy, you need to press here and you need to copy it that way. So for now, just to start with, I'm gonna add this here, and of course I am going to lower this a little bit. Okay. And let's add another close hat on top of this. Maybe not open. Those are close hats too. Let's do open. But like, you know, not super open, but somewhat open. This one is good, for example. Oh, right off the bat, you see? Let's use this. So because this is one shot, again, that's why I have this MIDI channel over here. I'm gonna close vocoder for now because I'm gonna show you guys what it does. But I'm gonna take this and I'm just gonna drag it here. And let's think about our hi-hat pattern. So again, let's do something basic. So you want it here, right in the middle. So again, we go to C3. As I said, putting it on C3 is really important. Then you duplicate it right here. Let's hear this guy. Again, oh, you see? Oh, for example, my bad. But I just realized that I put this in the wrong channel. Okay, so let's take the same thing. Okay. Oh, so I was telling you guys that I was gonna close the vocal. You see? Now I want to show you guys what this guy does. So if you open a vocoder instance, and then if you choose this carrier part as noise, just creates this crispy sound effect. Listen for it now. See, it's brighter, it's like greedier. I think it's a little bit too much for my taste, but you can balance them better. So I like the original one more, you know? And I want to go ahead and add a shaker as well. So let's look at shakers. Where is this? Ah, it was right here. Shakers. Again, we don't need open for that. So now let's again hear it with Splice Bridge. At the end, you know, sound selection is one of the most important things in producing anything, you know, any music, any genre. So, like, it can take hours sometimes. Right now, I'm not gonna go too much into it just so that you can see the track creation process, but that's one of the harsh realities of it. So, I'm really in between these two. Not this one, but I think I'm gonna go with this one. So again, let's add that to its designated channel here. That's a little long, but it wouldn't hurt. So it's gonna sound different here. Look. Whereas over here, it's more like, well, you can't hear it now. Although you see, it's more full here because again, I have some processes here. This is for sidechain, but I don't think I'm gonna, or maybe I'll sidechain. Actually, it will hurt to sidechain, but listen to it. If I close it right now, you see it sounds rougher. So this EQ essentially cleans everything here because with shakers you really only use the, you know, frequencies here. This compressor is just a sidechain. I'm gonna go ahead and do that as well. Okay. You see, with this auto pan option right here, if you know, like pull the phase all the way down there, it makes it more like. And this one is purely to give it, like, you know, actual auto pan effect. So it's gonna actually have a bounce a little bit from the speakers. But I like to use it in 1/16 take. leave it this way, you can hear it in both ways. I don't want it too extreme. Slightly to add, you know, like stereo depth. That, but you add this utility with width, like, you know, 180%, it makes it, like, you know, sound even more stereo. So now listen to the whole thing. Let's get to some melodies. So let's think about what type of vibe that we're talking about. Before we write our own melodies, find sounds, I want something that's gonna keep this even more driving. So I think we can add some ARP to it. So I'm gonna find those as samples. So let me create another audio channel here, and I'm just gonna copy this EQ. It's just, you know, a low cut that cuts all the unnecessary low end from these sounds. So again, let's lower this a little bit. Now let's look at some more sounds here, okay? From our beloved Splice. So synth, let's look at ARPs. And again, we want it for melodic techno. By the way, you know, you don't need to get stuck on one genre filter here. You can use Afro house sounds in a melodic techno track if you want. At least, you know, like Afro sounds that are labeled as Afro house here, you know. So there's that. Okay. Let's look at them. So for this, we're gonna need to also figure out our key. Let's look at. Okay, our key is in F. We're gonna need to adjust that in slice as well. So. Okay, listen. Not bad. You know, just for the sake of being able to hear sounds fully, I'm just gonna duplicate all these guys. As you can see, the shaker is already quite long. Added this guy over here too. Oh, what? Oh, I got the wrong thing. Sorry, it's this one. Copy. Okay, so we have the ARP as well, and then let's also put some very generic melodic techno steps, and I already have a couple of things, so let's find them. Okay, maybe. Oh, look at this. Okay. Potentially. Oh, these ones. Okay. Let's see how it. So. Okay. A little bit indecisive, but. Okay. This is not bad. For now, let's go with this one. Okay, you're saying. Okay. Let's go full on anima mode. Okay, we are on to something. So let me just adjust the volume. It sounds a little bit low for me, but okay, and of course let's quantize them. Over there, I'm probably gonna need to have to do this manually because I'm gonna use triplets. Okay. Okay, so I think we're getting somewhere. So this is what I want to do. So it's bam 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 bam. So for that, we're gonna need to do 30 seconds. So just look here. Okay. So over there, I'm gonna go even crazier. Look, let's make them even narrower. Oh shit. Excuse my language. Okay, so what else? We can add some more melodies here to in between. Something like that. So I'm just gonna write this tab And let's write our melody as well, and we are gonna be pretty much 90% done with the main skeleton of the song that way. So okay, so now let's look at leads. Leads. Where is this? It's very low. Like this. You know, just coming up with melodies. Let's look at some other sounds. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, let's go. One. Let's go. So, kind of like this. Oh, we're getting somewhere. Okay. So let's see, what do we have here? Seared bison. Okay, guys, so these are essentially like the most important elements of melodic techno. There we're also gonna add more atmospheric elements, like transition effects and all that. That's why I also have this harmony section here too. That's where I add the pads, more atmospheric sounds that I want wider. But these are like the main driving parts of it. So just to recap, the most important part, of course, kick and bass, coming up with a good groove there, and having your drums straight, just a couple of hats, usually open and closed, and then a shaker, and a snare or a clap, and of course, percussions if you would like. In this case, I think this doesn't really need a lot of percussions. For melodies, we came up with some stabs. This is very popular with the style of melodic techno. And then, just this nice, greedy bass and another driving arp behind it. Let me rename this too. And that's it for today, folks. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace!